Hi everyone and welcome back to So Blessed by Jess. And in today's episode, we're going to talk about getting ready for a quilt show. I have everything right here on the computer. So y'all, we are counting down the days. I leave in 19 days for Texas on a plane to deliver my quilts. I know some of you guys are going to think that I'm insane, but I'm absolutely like floored and over the moon. You have no idea. And yeah, like why wouldn't anyone want to finish off their summer going to a quilt show? I mean, come on now. So anywho, it can't be mailed in. It has to be hand delivered. And that is the reason why I'm flying down to Houston and back. And it's really not a bad trip. The tickets weren't that bad. I'll get there really early in the morning, kind of chill out, take an Uber over to the convention center, take an Uber back from the convention center, and get back on an airplane and be back in Charlotte, where my family will pick me up and bring me home, just to 3 days later, drive back down-ish. And I think Emma's coming with me, my youngest, and that'll be fun. So there's a few things that we have to do. Mega quilt over here, the Civil War quilt, which is what we're going to be working on today. Needs a sleeve. And a sleeve is just a cylinder tube that goes on the back of the quilt for them to hang and then put a rod through. I watched multiple videos on that, and I kind of want to go through the steps on how I'm going to prepare the quilt for the quilt show. It needs to be a 4-inch sleeve. And it can't be any more than 90 inches above the bottom of the quilt. And unfortunately, this quilt is 105 inches. So there's a good 15 inches that people aren't going to see. And that's okay. That's okay. Even though one of my favorite blocks is up on the top, I'm just going to go ahead and put 2 sleeves on it. I'm going to put one all the way up at the top and then one at the 90 inch. And I'll let them know it's at the 90 inch. And we'll go from there. I'm also going to show you how I'm going to put a label on the quilt. Because I am not fancy. I am not an embroiderer. I have really stinky handwriting. I write like a doctor or, yeah, that just doesn't work. I have cursive / printed writing. So anyway, it's not cute like every other teacher's handwriting is, even though we write a lot. I'm just a messy writer. So to combat that, I went and got this paper, heat transfer paper from the Wally World. And what we're going to do is I'm going to create the title, when it was made, all of that great stuff with my name on a Google Doc. Then mirror image it, slap it on here, put it on piece of fabric and iron it on. So we're going to try this out, see how it works. Cross our fingers. It's going to be amazing. It's absolutely going to be amazing. And I got the light colored fabric because of course I'm going to probably put it on cream or something like that. I don't see myself putting it on anything dark. I also need to make a pillowcase for it to slide the quilt in. And also label that with all of that information. Yes. Am I missing anything? Am I missing anything? So 90 inches from the bottom, 4-inch sleeve. I need a label, a fabric bag, and to leave them any notes. Also, I'm going to email them again tomorrow and go, hey, because I did click that my quilt could travel if they wanted it to. And then I'll just go pick it up when they come back to Tennessee. And that means I won't have to stay until Saturday. Because I wouldn't be able to pick it up until after 6 o'clock Saturday night. And then I'm driving home. Because guess what starts Monday morning? The job. Okay. All right. Yeah. So are you ready? So the first thing that we're going to do is I am going to trim up this quilt. we're going to show the trimming. I showed how I trimmed on one of my last videos. I'm also going to show when I'm trimming like a close-up of the design. I need to look up the design that I used for the long arm, from the long armor. That would be great. I need to do that. And then, so I'm pretty sure it's in an email. Yeah, now I'm rambling, but it's okay. It's all right. Because you love me, I love you. We're all in this together. So without further ado, let's go ahead, head over to the cutting table. I just need to move a couple things. So in your time, it's going to be like, boop, I'm over there and ready to go. In my time, it's probably going to be about 15 minutes. Because I need to move a couple things. And we'll go ahead and trim it up to square. And then I'll show you what the sleeve's going to look like, the design, the binding that I'm going to be using for this quilt. We're going to cut the binding. I'm going to show you all of that great stuff. It's going to be a little bit longer video, but we're going to like snip from here on out. So yeah. Okay, let's go. So here is the overall design that I have on this quilt, and it's called Lapis, L-A-P-I-S. And let me see if I can find like a really, has swirls and feathers. It's really hard to see, but anyhow, here's the swirls. And then it feathers out. Here's a feather. And then it goes back into the swirls. And that's really about it. I didn't want anything that was going to take away from the design of the quilt. I wanted something just really light and that would just carry on and complement the quilt as much as possible because it's very geometric. And I didn't want anything too geometric on this. And yeah, so let's go ahead and start trimming this baby up. So to trim up our quilt, I have two rulers. I have my 10.5 inch Creative Grids ruler. And then I have my 6.5 by 24 inch ruler. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to line up this quilt to the best of my abilities, kind of smooth it all out, make sure that there's nothing going on. I'm not worried about strings and everything anywhere quite yet. I will get to it in a little bit. First thing I'm going to do is kind of got like a little dip right here. So I'm going to kind of pull the quilt up a little bit. So I'm going to try to line this up as best of my abilities. All right. Just like I did with the first quilt when I was doing, what quilt were we putting together? We were binding a quilt the other day. The patriotic quilt. I'm going to leave a 1/4 inch batting inside this so that when I create the batting, it has something to hold on to. Okay. Now, as you can see, some of it is not a 1/4 inch, but I'm just going to keep it as flat as I can and straight. All right. And then I'm going to take this side and I'm going to line up a 1/4 inch and a 1/4 inch. Again, to the best of my abilities. Okay. We're going to do that. I'm going to always line up my corners first. Oh, let's do it this way so I can see the line going down and then the white line across the top. That would work a little bit better for me. All right. Remember, just do it to the best of your abilities. The binding is gonna, there's no perfect quilt. So, but we're just gonna make sure that we got it going on. Okay. All right. So now I can go ahead and start. I'm gonna cut. Am I even on the mat? I'm not even on the mat. Slide to the left. Slide to the right. Okay. Okay. So now that we're on the mat, I'm gonna look at it again. I'm gonna say, I'm right, we're doing great. Maybe not, but I'm gonna but this guy looks to be as straight as it's gonna be right here. And then I'm gonna line this guy up to be like the same. Okay, and I might just need to pull this down a little bit more, which is fine. There we go. Okay. All right, let's cut. Let's have some confidence. Woo, right? We can do this. First cut is made. All right, so we're gonna cut our corner first. Sorry it's taking so long. Okay. Okay, there we go. Cut is made. Now I am done with this until I get to the next corner. I am now going to finish cutting this one long 24-inch strip. Okay, this goes off to the side. And magically, oh, let's close that guy. I'm gonna put this back. And I'm gonna roll it a little bit. And bring up the next piece. And we are gonna keep going all the way around this quilt. There we go. All right. Oops. So sorry. Even that's in the way. Oh well. It all works in the end. Okay. Line a little bit of this up. Quarter inch. Grab the blade. Cut. Remove the batting. Close your blade. Roll. And I'm going to do this all the way down 105 inches by 93 inches across times 2. And then I'll be back. I know this is kind of at a weird angle, but welcome to my life, right? So I stopped right here and I'm coming to a corner and I forgot to tell you like how I do that. So when I get to a corner, I take my square back out and I do my quarter inch around my corner, which is right about there. Because again, quilts aren't perfect and that's okay. Okay. Now I have this space left right here. That's when I come back in with my 24-inch ruler. And I line up this side, I line up this side, and I just cut. So now everything's lined up perfectly. And I can continue going around. All right, one more corner and I'm done. Then we're on to binding. Okay, so I finished cutting everything. Now we need to make the sleeve. To make the sleeve, I'm going to use the backing because I want to match the back of it to the best of my abilities. I have measured it. We are still at 94 inches across like we were before. So now this is 108 inches wide. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut a 4.5 inch strip from this and then take off, then make my 94 inch sleeve. And I'm going to show you how I do it. Plus we have this as our binding. I am going to cut this at 1.5 inch strips and I am going to create the binding like I do with the Patriot quilt. I thought about doing the double binding method where you do a 2-inch strip and then, but I will do it at a 45-degree angle, unlike I did the last one. And then I'm hand sewing it. And it is going to be put on differently than when I put on the Patriot quilt. I'm going to sew this, the Patriot quilt, I sewed to the back of the quilt and then flipped it over. I will be sewing this to the front of the quilt and then flipping it to the back and hand stitching it on the back of the quilt, so that you have that really nice, beautiful seam on the front of your quilt. So that's where we are right now. I'm gonna go ahead and cut this down to a 4.5-inch strip so we can make our tube. Then I'm going to show you how I've been taught. And I've done a lot of research on making tubes. And this is all hand stitched too. So I'm going to hand stitch this down to the back of my quilt. I got a lot of hand stitching in front of me and I can do it. I believe in myself. We are amazing. We are a big team and you are the best cheerleader I have and I need you. All right, I'll be back. So fun fact, when I was, when I got this in the mail, it was a 108-inch backing. So I know from selvage to selvage, it is 108 inches. And it's folded on itself once, not only once, but twice right now. So the first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna trim up this edge. I'm gonna line up the selvage on one of my lines. Okay, it looks pretty lined up. Let's just go ahead. Let's do on the 2-inch line. Oh, this line, 2 in. Okay, and I'm gonna need 2 rulers. Okay. Hold on a second, y'all. All right. Okay, I see where I am. I was putting it on the wrong line. No good. That wouldn't have worked. Okay, now we're lined up. Let's make a straight edge. And now we can cut 4.5 inches. Okay. Slide. And there we go. Nope. So I need to edit this. My brain wasn't functioning as well, but it's okay. Not a 4.5 inch, because I kept saying that at the beginning. It's going to be 8.5. So I'm going to need this ruler. We're going to put this on 8.5 inches right here, and we are going to cut all the way down. So, and we're going to do this twice. I'm actually going to make 2 sleeves for this quilt, just in case later on down the road I can use the full length of this quilt. At this quilt show, I cannot, it has to be 90 inches from the bottom to hang. Okay. All right. Now we cut it 8.5 inches. Oops, let's go a little bit more. I'm going to be cutting some of this anyway, no worries. So that, let's open it up. When I fold it in half, this length will be 4 inches. And that is what we'll sew. So let's go ahead. We'll head over to the, let's see, I'm gonna make it 94 inches first, and then we will go over to the sewing machine and start stitching this up. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take the ends and we're gonna fold them over 1/4 inch twice. So we can create a, we don't wanna see this raw edge on the side. Okay, I've changed out all my thread to the dove. Okay, start a couple stitches. And then I'm just using this tool right here to make sure that I am folding over equally all the way down. And you can iron this before you do it too, if that helps you, and pin it in place. I mean, you guys know me by now. I'm not a pinner if I don't have to. I don't have to worry about back stitching. So let's see, it's pretty hard to see. I got a lot of shadows over here on this side. So we have that done. We're going to do the second side, and then I'll show you what's next. Now that both sides are done, we're going to take, I'll put that tool away. We're going to take this sleeve and fold it right sides in. And we're going to sew all the way down this tube and making it an enclosed tube. Okay. Make sure that beginning is lined up really well so that the end comes out very well. Okay. I'm just going to keep going all the way down. All right. You can either press this to the side, or you can, what I'm going to do, I'm going to press this whole seam open all the way down. So I'm going to go get my iron. We're going to press that seam open all the way down the sleeve, and then we're going to attach it to the quilt after we flip it out. I'll show you how we attach it. All right. So I've turned the sleeve inside out, and here's the seam right here. And I took my little ruler right here, and I just made sure, I wanted to make sure that this was the same length all the way down. And I was fuzzy already. Anyway, I folded it right here and just put pins all the way down. What I'm going to do is, this is going to be at the top of my quilt. I'm actually making 2 of these. For the quilt show, just a reminder, I have to have one at 90 inches from the bottom, and then one's going to be all the way at the top, just in case I enter into another show and I can put the whole thing up and down. So I'm going to make 2 of these. So what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to take the top of my quilt and just do 1/8 of an inch stitch, just to tack it to the top of the quilt. That's it. So when I put my binding on, my binding will also capture it a little bit more, so that I know that it's really holding on weight-wise. Because once, I mean, it's a heavy quilt. So that's my biggest concern. When I do the 90 inches from the bottom, I'm really going to do a lot of small stitching all the way down. But that's going to be for another video. I'm going to stop right here for video number 1. But thank you so much for following along. Thank you for hanging out with me tonight. You guys are amazing, and I don't say this enough, and I want to say it in every single video, but absolutely best community ever. Just the people that I'm involved in on Discord, lives, streams that I have, that I'm involved in. You all that leave comments, or maybe think of things and leave me little messages or email me, all that great stuff. I really do appreciate that. You guys are just amazing. You just, you warm my heart. So, so I'm just going to stitch this down and then show you in part 2 what I'm going to do, because I'm going to do a little tweaking. So, yeah, you guys, we are getting there. We are getting there. It's going to be probably a 3-part series for this quilt. So this is part 1. Part 2 is actually putting on the sleeve and the binding, and then probably just 2 parts, and then just hand stitching. That's pretty much all we're left. I mean, how many times do you really need to see me hand stitching? We'll do it a couple times here or there. I'll do it for like a minute, and you can watch the process. And I do it the same way that Kimberly Jolly does on the Fat Quarter Shop. She has a great video out on it too. So, and yeah, it's good. Good. So until the next video, thank you so much for following along, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.